Hi guys, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in to I Am Precious Franklin, giving God the glory, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited today because I have a message for you, and this message today I'm going to talk about in light of what's going on in the world and where we are, speaking about the coronavirus and some of the things that have been going on. And I know a lot of people are asking a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people are looking for answers, and they're trying to find some type of relief. It almost seems as if the state is in some type of panic. And one of the things that I just want to quickly share, as we go through this season, is that the fact that God always gives us things to remind us. He always gives us these things to remind us that He is in control, that He is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. And one of the things that I'm doing right now during this period to stay calm is just staying reminded of that, staying reminded of the fact that God's wrath is not on us, and that God is a God of mercy and everlasting, and He's told us many times over and over and over that this too shall pass, that trouble doesn't last always. And I think that there's an opportunity for us here to kind of gather our thoughts, spend some time thinking about what is going on, and focusing on our futures, focusing on what our goals are and what we intend to do with the time that is here. Life itself is really short, and life itself is really short when you look at it over your lifespan, but the journey is long. That's what Pastor Vinny says, and I love that quote that he says there, because it's the truth. And it's in this journey we're asked to do certain things. We're asked of a commission, which is to be discipled and then disciple others. And there's something that this message said to me. Our bishop, this past Sunday, he ministered on the fact nothing soothes the heart like a preached word. And that is so true, because nothing soothes the heart like a preached word. And the reason that we talk about it as being like a preached word is because some kind of way, when you get a preached word, when you get motivated, when you get that influence that you're looking for, when you get that influctuation of new advice or a new way of doing something, it motivates you, it gives you faith, and it provides hope that you can go on and that you can carry on. And one of the things that I say about that is, it's just like the gas you need in your car in order for you to drive. If you don't have gas, you don't have, a car, kind of. It needs gas to drive. We need food to live every single day. We need to eat in order to live. And one of the other things that our spirit needs is it needs a good old word. It needs motivation. It needs some type of substance. It has to be fed. And the reason that happens is a lot of times people find themselves in very stressful or anxiety situations because we lack the ability to think through or to fully understand what may be going on, and or to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And with seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, you can think to yourself, okay, I know that this trouble won't last always. I know that this too shall pass. That joy comes in the morning. And I think of that as we go through this. I'm reminded of it, and I think that God has inspired us all to understand that certain things are just out of our control, but in times like this we must pray. And that's what the word tells us to do. It tells us to pray when things are out of your control. He says to do what you can do, and then when you've done all you can do, I'll do the rest. And so I think that we're all doing what we need to do. We're doing our part to stay healthy, to stay out of harm's way, to contain ourselves from seeing so many people. Perhaps if we don't feel well, we are staying home. And I think that we are all doing our part, but we must humble ourselves and pray that God do his part as well, and remind him of his promises to us. He says, you can remind me of what I said I would do. And I'm reminded in this time of what God can do, that he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above anything that we can think or ask. And I think that we sometimes get in a level of our comfort zone, and some kind of way we've gotten comfortable with our life according to the way that it is, and we just hurry about every single day, sometimes not even giving second thought to God, who is in control and who is protecting us and providing for us, regardless whether you believe in him or not. And so things like this, when these types of things get out of our control, it definitely reminds us that there is a higher power, there is a most high, and that we are to submit to him if that's our choice, and that this is a time that we can fellowship with him, and that we can ask him, talk to him. So we're all at home. So I think that this is a great time to do some things that we need to do that we haven't done in a while. I've taken some of this time to get some of my items together from my store. I've taken this time to kind of think through my process and where I want to be, and just thinking through my life. Also, I went through some things prior to this week, and what God did for me to kind of sit me down during this moment, because I was so busy hurrying, thinking that if I could, work really hard, that I could come out on the other side. And that's really what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, is just focusing on what I need to do to get out. And of course I was partaking of the fruit and eating of the word, but I don't think that I was spending that quality time that God deserves and that he requires in order for us to stay connected to the vine. And I think that having been sat down, some of us are at home by choice today, some of us are at home by force today, and I am one of those people that is at home by force, because I was in an accident last week and I don't have a car. So it's like, even if I wanted to be out working and driving, I'm at home, and I'm not upset about it. I wasn't upset when I got in the accident, because I have come to a place in my life through a pruning, if I may, equipping, if I may, good word, preached word in my life. I've come to a place where I know that God has me, and that if I'm ever dropped, it's only into the hands of him, so that he's just going to pick me back up and restore me to the place where I was, if not further ahead. But God is not here to subtract anything from our lives. He's here to add. He is the addition. He is love. There is nothing negative about him, nothing that he can do. And so I know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And I know that this too will work together for my good. So I didn't spend a lot of time worrying about that, but because I knew that I was going to be in the house for a couple of days because I didn't have a car, it led me to the grocery store, and to just make sure that I had what I needed before I took my rental car back. And so I went to the grocery store, and I see all the shelves are empty, and then I see the panic of people. I see the worry on their face, the distress in their carts, the hoarding that's going on. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm thinking, my, what about that? Because at this particular point in time, in my mind, I was reminded that no matter what, the story says that God is the author. He is the end and the beginning, the Alpha and the Omega, Elohim, that he was a provider. And I think that God will provide. And I think that this more so is not about a time of us seeing how much we can buy and how much we can this. Because let's just say you are the last one with food. You are the last one with this. Will you share? Or will you hoard? Will you only protect your family? Or will you give to the person in need? So are you giving so that you might end up giving so that you can get again? Or are we just hoarding because we just want to protect ourselves? But we cannot outrun God. We cannot run him or whatever he's doing at all. If God's wrath wants to find you, it will find you. So I think that we must remember that God did not create the spirit of fear, but he created the spirit of a sound mind. And that this is a time that I think that we are called to remember him. Remember the fact that there are things that are just out of your control. What if? Then what do you do? When the hospital has come to the conclusion that there are so many people that they might have to turn people away. So what if you get sick and you can't go to the hospital? What if? Is there just no cure? Is there just no treatment? Is there just no test? No. God is all things. He is the thing that can be neither created nor destroyed. He is. He just is. And so when we look at that, we must look at the fact that there will always be a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. And let's talk about God's will for a moment. Because sometimes situations like this, and even if we look at past historical events, sometimes there are historical events that caused us, now we study them, we look out for them, we know that this history is out there. And of course, some people will say, watch out for history because it might repeat itself. But it also, everything that we go through in our lives is an opportunity for us to learn. It's an opportunity for us to look back over our lives and remember all that God has brought us through. Or in a case like this, to remember what happened the last time. Before there was a flu vaccine, before there was a big flu epidemic, the flu was foreign. And so now we take the right precautions to make sure that we fight against this virus so that you don't get sick, or you make sure that you have the things that you need, the medicines that you need, so just in case you do get sick, that this happens. So this is something that again is more similar to like a fire drill or tornado drill, only sometimes it's not a drill, it's the real thing. And this is the real thing. But how we respond in a moment like this depends on the type of country and unity that we have and who we are. Martin Luther King said, a man's character is not judged of where he is in a time of a place of comfort, but more so where he is in a place of tragic or of trial. That's where a person's character is determined. Our character as a country is going to be determined right here about why are we doing this? Why are we sending ourselves in such a panic? Are we holding ourselves away from everybody and then not sharing what we have? And the thing that led me to this message today, I was listening to a preached word because my soul or my heart needs to be soothed as well. I must partake in the nutrition of peace, of faithfulness, of gentleness, of kindness. I must feed that to myself in order for me to exude that. But Pastor Vinny, he asked people, he said in a time like this, he talked about something, but he says, what are we going to give? What is it? He said that everything must be shared. He said that a good word is not just for you. It's given to you that it may be shared. Your peace is not just for you. It's given to you that it may be shared. Your resources are not just for you. It's given to you that it may be shared. Because where do resources come from? Every opportunity that we've had in our lives or that we have in our lives are more so opportunities that come through someone or something else, which meant it was something stemming the sharing. Our kindness must be shared. Our love must be shared. Our heart posture must be shared. Our peace must be shared. And I thought to myself, I'm okay and I'm not in a state of panic, but perhaps I'm not putting myself in a position to be able to comfort the next person and make sure that they're not in a state of panic and say a word over their lives, or to share the word that was over my life with them into their lives, that they too shall know that this too shall pass. That God is protecting us, but He's also calling us to pray for one another. He's also calling us to be reminded of what happened before, to be reminded of the fact that yes, things are absolutely sometimes out of our control and there's nothing that we can do about it. But what we must do is what we can do and then allow Him to do what we cannot. And so once we've done our job with protecting ourselves, everybody has done an incredible job of protecting yourself and taking the right precautions to protect others by not going places. If you're not doing that, you should, especially if you feel like you don't feel well or you have a fever, or perhaps there is no symptoms, but perhaps you can look into other precautions that you can take to just make sure that you prevent yourself from being sick at a time like this, because not only will you not know what you have, but everybody's going to be you're going to be assumed that you might have this virus, and we just want to try to contain it and make sure that it is put in a place where we're not spreading it around. But this is happening every single day as people now are using their elbows to punch the elevators, or not grabbing the doors, or you're taking the right precautions. These are not things that we should not have always done. It's just the fact that there is more risk now out here, that is a virus on the loose that's running rampant, that there may not be a vaccine for. And so that's sending people into this spiraling nature. We're praying for you if you are infected with the virus. We're praying for your healing. We're praying for your immune system to be built up and to fight off anything that comes against it, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, in the name of Jesus. For those of you who are not feeling well, for those of you who have sick ones or loved ones, we're praying for comfort. We're praying for grievance at this time. We are praying for people who don't have enough food. There are people out there who don't have enough food in a time like this. They were already struggling prior to this, and my heart is compelled to go out to them. This is why we must pray, because I don't know where you are. We don't know where you are and you're hungry. We don't know where you are. We can't get to you. And of course, if you're hungry, go ahead and reach out to someone so that people might know what's going on.